Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to another God experience. This week's city or gene key is gene key 13, and of course it moves from the shadow of discord, the gift of discernment, and the city of empathy. What do I want to say? First of all, thank you to all the people who showed up to last week's or yesterday's God experience called talking about sacrifice. Another awesome call. It was like a marathon, 4.5 hours. We got deep. Of course, we went off topic completely, but people's experiences and contemplations of sacrifice were absolutely beautiful. But I do want to say to those who are participating in this, and I'm guilty of this as well, it's just a little reminder of the God experience that it's the experience part that is the most important, or at least what I had structured this thing about is that yes, we can absolutely. What I'm saying is, I think what we're which is typical for human beings, we start analyzing the word or the city. We start thinking about it. What does it mean? How do I see it in my life? Rather than what I hope for is that we are vessels for the experience of it, for recognizing it in our reality by grounding it through our body. So, yes, go ahead, contemplate, analyze these Siddhic words, and we can all get very mental about that. It's beautiful. Open up to the higher mental realm and receive those. But also, as well, remember that this is an experience. So it has to, the body has to be involved. And so remember that this week, of course, empathy. And for all the weeks, we are feeling the frequency of empathy into our body and opening up to the higher realms to ground that into the earth realm. And then we kind of forget about it. And we go about our life, not over analyzing what does empathy mean? Where is it? Where do I see it in my life? No, we kind of forget about it. But as often as you can, feel empathy. And then suddenly it will arrive into your field as a synchronicity and you'll be reminded. So let's do that. Um, what else do I want to say? Yeah. And so, we've emanation, sacrifice, and now empathy. And like emanation does require maybe a difficult word, but and other people may disagree, but emanation requires sacrifice. And when we sacrifice the little self or the mind, the ego mind, then sacrifice naturally leads to empathy. And my cat, Peanut, agrees. So we're on this continuum of this beautiful Siddhic story. So sacrifice is what is needed in order to really experience, embody this city of empathy, which is very near and dear to my heart. I have a natural gift for it. It is my vocation. Um, and I love it. I really haven't practiced, upgrading my talent with it, but it is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it has taught me so much. And I realize not everyone's going to resonate with each of these cities, but in this one, I highly recommend. I'm going to offer some meditations or practices on this one. Highly recommend that you try this one out because of the healing, your personal healing with other people and within yourself potential for this. Okay, so where am I going with this? So, Richard says it all so beautifully in there. He talks about this is about not learning, listening to our past experiences. It creates discord because we just keep doing the same thing. He talks about that this is our mythic journey. And I will say right here, I guess it's kind of like a commercial. If you want to know what mythic story you're embodying this lifetime? What is your hero's journey this time? It is embedded in your birth name, what is on your birth certificate name, which creates your soul contract, which I do. That's the revealer of your mythic story. What lessons are you? That's your hero's journey, and it's beautiful to look at your mythic story from like these grand numbers or frequencies. Yeah, it's really fantastic. And I am working right now, it's all coming, it's downloading into me right now, where I've taken the soul contract and I'm matching it to the Gene Keys spheres as well as Tree of Life spheres. Anyway, so I'm working on that. It will be a great in-depth study, not just study, but healing of the deepest wounds of your mythic story, which are held in your soul contract. Now, let's get back to empathy. So Richard talks about that this is all about listening, of course. It's an inner listening because the gift is discernment. And I love how I just did discernment. I wasn't even aware that empathy was next with its gift of discernment when I did the light behind discernment and discrimination. Oh my God, all these synchronicities. And he calls this listening through love. And I would say, I don't agree with that. Of course, I mean, of course I agree with it, but I think when you say listening through love, we want to be listening with our whole being, our whole true being. And our true self, of course, is love. So rather than listening through love, which kind of separates a me and there's a love here, we want to say empathy is done through listening as love. And it changes the whole frequency. Now it's not me trying to listen through love, like create some kind of false loving feeling. I am love. And that's my true nature. So listening as love, I think, is the mantra here. Yeah, I think that's all I'll say about that. Let's just look at the numbers. They're so simple and yet so deep and so connected to all of this. Okay, share screen. Is that what I'm doing next? Yes. Okay, share screen. All right, so the foundation of empathy is the 6. And let me get rid of something here so I can see more clearly. So the 6 in Hebrew represents man, represents the spine. So it's the upright man, it's the Adam. The 6 holds the Adam-Kadam template. It's also cool because it represents the spine and the upright man. It absolutely represents our nervous system. And of course, we know the spine and the nervous system is the bridge to spirit. So 6 is called the bridge to spirit. And all of this, the 6 is, well, the spine, it's also connected to root consciousness. So the foundation of empathy, number 1, is root consciousness. It's actually, excuse me, connected to sacral, but we want to ground through the root because the 6 petals of the sacral chakra, my voice is going, we need to ground. So the 6 is about being very grounded to earth in order to stabilize our spine and our nervous system in order to be a connector to spirit. Now, when we think of being a bridge or connector to spirit, we think vertically, but this is also, as the I Ching calls it, the 13 is the fellowship of man. In order to embody empathy, we have to be a connector to our friends, the people in our lives, their spirit, their true nature. So it's a horizontal connection as well. And in order to connect on a horizontal way to another's true self, then we have to have the focus and meditative pull, the inward focus inward centered focus that the 6 requires. And when we say centered, we mean vertically centered. So into the central channel, this is where our focus goes. This is where the 6 wants us to be all the time. This is how we are vertically connected to spirit and then connected to our fellow man horizontally. That we are inwardly focused through our center vertically and inwardly focused horizontally. And where does that lead us? Yes, you got it, right to the heart. So in the exercise that I'll be presenting you, you cannot attempt empathy from any other location but your inner center of the heart. Not necessarily in the heart, but the feeling of the heart. Anyway, so that's the foundation. In order to really have empathy, we need to be grounded. We need to be inner focused, and focus is a key, centered horizontally and vertically in the heart, an open root consciousness, an open sacral and base. What else? And that we tap into, and of course we say the heart, but we have to go further than the heart. We have to tap into our true nature in order to tap into somebody else's true nature. I wonder if you could hear my stomach growling. Anyway, so once we have that foundation, then what does empathy give us when we are able to empathetically listen and become one with another? Then of course it's the 8. It helps us relate beautifully to another and the situation correctly. And the success of this, I love how it just rolls back on itself, is that yes, you are a bridge and connector to spirit, and all this connection and centered focus grounds you back to earth. It keeps your inner integrity in alignment. And just like, so the 15 is an offset of the 6, part of the 6, you become your own Ouroboros energy. You just keep feeding yourself nonstop with this beautiful energy. So it's beautiful. And the 6 is called like the divine warrior. You're like the greatest warrior for people in your life. Everyone wants a healthy 6 friend in their life, personality. Okay, so of course, do the activation however you wish to for empathy, to be a grounding vessel for empathy. But I highly recommend, because I've done this so many times and it's so helpful, and I'm going to do it once again, that if you have pick somebody in your life that you have contention with, that is, you really need some healing, to do this empathy exercise with. And do it with yourself, right? You can do it with yourself. And I'm not going to guide you through the meditation, but I'm just going to give you pointers. So of course, where do I want to start? Of course, centered focus. So here, heart-centered, but totally grounded, right? This is like typical of every meditative state. Get to a feeling, heart-centered feeling of sincerity of what you wish to do. Like you have to be truly sincere and humbled to be able to connect into another's, astral body, to connect with their true self, to have access to another person's being. So this is it has to come from the heart and totally sincere. This is not for voyeurism. So you ask your helpers for help. Call in from up here. You can use your attention, move your attention up here, and you call in your higher self. You call in that person's higher self, and you ask that you wished to access their being, or whatever you can access. I don't really know how to call it, that you want to become one with them, to experience empathy with them in order to heal. Make that very clear and have the right feeling, right? So make your prayer, call it in from up here, the higher realms. It's much clearer up here. The ego mind doesn't get involved. Call it in, then drop back down. And what you're going to do to kind of to get yourself to the core of yourself, to get yourself to your true self, you can do whatever little exercise it is by removing yourself. You say, okay, I'm removing my name. And I'm sure you've heard this meditation many times. I'm going to erase my name, however you want to do it. I'm going to remove my emotions, my mental body. Okay, now my legs are going away, my arms are going away, however you want to do it. But so that eventually you kind of erase everything about you. This could be frightening to the ego, so take it easy. And you end up where you're kind of invisible. The name's gone, your story's gone, your charts are gone, and you end up just in this invisible space. And that's where you want to be, with the heart involved. Now, I really want, because now you're in true self land, true self connecting with another's true self. And you see an image of that person, feeling the loving, compassionate space that you are, because remember, you're listening as love, and you just bring that image to you in order for healing. And then just listen. And if start listening with your ears, but then of course it's not really the ears, and then it's the body through feelings, and you'll get a hit. You will get a hit of something and an aha, and almost instantaneously you will have healing of that situation. Now, maybe you won't get it the first try, but I highly recommend doing that if you have some thing with somebody. But also you can do it with yourself. Yeah, to see where healing needs to happen, where actually you're looking at yourself from your true self's perspective, and then whatever you see, you just bring it back into the true self or pure consciousness, and it heals it. And it's so beautiful, and it's yeah. Okay, I have totally talked way too much. But I wish you well on your journey of empathy this week, and maybe we'll see you on this Saturday's call. Until next time.